I'd just like to firstly, before I start talking about the opportunities that there may be for supply chain, is just to give you a little bit of background as to who Maybury Bridge are and where we come from, because it puts things into a little bit of perspective. We're based in Wales, Chepstow. Historically, we're a provider of bridges, heavy plated bridges, panel bridges. In the UK, we turn over about £80 million per annum, and we employ at the moment about 500 people, and those are at sites in Chepstow and Lydney in Gloucestershire. We can make an awful lot of steel. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, apart from Christmas, and we're broadly split into two divisions. Next slide. The International Division sells panel bridges. You might know them as Bailey bridges. They're used worldwide for disaster relief, where there's floods, damage from wars. They're very quick to install, and you've probably seen them if you go up the Wye Valley. There's been one on the Wye Valley for many years. The next slide, please. The UK division, we made lots and lots of very large bridges over the years. Plated girder used on highways and roads and rail. Do footbridges, and we've done some other things over the years, but heavy plate fabrication is what we're about. So we make bridges. Kind of maybe think why we're talking to you here. We have lots of affiliations to various organisations. We have to be a very quality-focused organisation for the customers we provide to. The turbine manufacturers have extremely high standards, so that's something we need to bear in mind. Okay. As I say, we make bridges, heavy plate. We have a facility now, which we announced about a year ago, £38 million investment of shareholder money to create a new factory to build wind turbine towers. These things are very large, 70, 80 metres in height, 4 or 5 metres in diameter at the base. They're very large steel tubes. It's been great for us. We've built a new factory. We've created quite a lot of new jobs. We've employed over the last probably 3 months about 100 people in the local area. And we have aspirations to build up to about 200 towers per annum. So it's a real good news story and one which we're proud of. And as a business looking forwards, we've got a lot of opportunities over the next few months and years. Okay. As I said, very large items. You know, we can fabricate things up to 70 millimetres in thickness, which is 3 inches in old school. Big heavy lumps of steel, up to 40 metres long, 100 tonnes in weight. And we've got all the kind of modern equipment installed that you might expect to be able to fabricate those kind of items. In terms of why we're talking to you today, obviously we have the capability to make big, heavy pieces of steel. One thing we're less good at is making lightweight pieces of steel. And towers have quite a lot of lightweight pieces of steel inside them. They can range from aluminium components, steel components, but they have a high value. Each tower can have internals of a value up to about £50,000. If you take Penny Camoith, 60, 70 towers, that's, you know, £3 million in excess of subcontracting. We wouldn't look to do most of that work. We'd look to engage the supply chain to do it. As a business, we don't have that level of supply chain in place at the moment. We use local fabricators close to us, but they won't be able to cope. And I think that's one of the things to say is that because of the amount of work that there is out there, we don't see that we'll be going to one supplier for this. We'll have to go to lots and lots of different suppliers. So that's quite key, that, you know, these won't be let as single packages, they will be broken down. Okay, next slide. So what are the internals? As I said, aluminium, steel components, but basically they fall into various categories. You've got platforms, they might be grating, they might be Durbar plate, they might be aluminium. They've usually got some kind of steel angle supports, but generally very, very lightweight fabrication. Ladders and brackets, you've got 80 metres of tower, you need 80 metres of ladder in every tower. Doors, sounds simple, but nearly everything in towers are quite complicated items of fabrication. They're not just simple plates, you know, there's lots of fittings, but again, it's thin gauge fabrication. It's not something that's our kind of stock in trade. The external stairs, they don't always put doors at the very ground level, so the steps up, the steps down. There's electrical systems in there. When we supply towers to site, we don't supply a basic tube and then sit and fit all the bits inside. All the bits get fitted at our works into sections. The towers go with kind of tarpaulin ends on them. They get delivered to site and they get stood up. And essentially all you do is you do the mechanical connections, and any lighting systems are plug and play kind of systems that you connect up. So you're not then going through on a construction site and doing lots and lots of integration. A great deal of it is going to be done off-site at our works. So there's lighting, there's power, and then there's all kinds of little bits and pieces of kind of small fabrications which are designed to suit the appropriate manufacturer. So there's a wide range of fabrication kind of opportunities out there. Okay, please, next slide. Our requirements, quite important, is reliability and quality. I guess it's no surprise really. We have to work to very high standards, and our supply chain will have to also work to very high standards. I think it's probably fair to say we've been surprised by the level of inspection that is required, the level of accuracy that is required on everything that we make. We're used to working in fairly high standard areas. You'd think bridges have got very kind of a high level of quality in there, which they do. But the turbine manufacturers have a kind of a level again. You know, not only do you have to work to British standards, you have to work to individual specifications. And not only do you have to work to them, you have to demonstrate that you have worked to them. And that is very, very key in this process. So, in terms of what we look to from a supply chain, if people have ISO 9001, great. If they don't, that's not necessarily a bar. Clearly, the greater commitment you have to quality, the better it is, or the easier it is for you to get qualified with us. In terms of the quality, we've already talked about that, but you know, we need suppliers who are going to be there for the long term, who've got kind of cash, you know, so they're stable. We can't place orders of the kind of size that we're looking at with people who are going to be here today, gone tomorrow. And we need to kind of work and to develop that supply chain with yourselves. Health and safety is also very key. We work in UK construction. Towers will be put up in a UK construction environment. You know, a good commitment to health and safety is also key. And that ties in with an ethical way of trading, you know, an integrity about the way you do your business with ourselves. I think one point that was on one of the slides which I didn't make is Penny Moyth is a scheme 2-3 years in the future. As a business, our first towers are delivered in April of this year. So we need to be developing our supply chain now for the opportunities that present themselves over the next few years. At the moment, we have to buy most of these internals from the continent because that's where the supply chains are already established. So the turbine manufacturers say, please buy these from X, Y, and Z. We hope, and it's our intention, to be able to say, we can supply those from the local area. We're not very far away, about an hour and a quarter. So, you know, you guys are very, very local to us, and we'd welcome any kind of interest that you may have. I think that's my last slide. So I'd like to say thank you very much. Could I just ask all the Maybury Bridge representatives here today just to stand up? We've got about 5 or 6 people. So we've got to stand in the corner. If you want to come and talk to us, please grab one of us and we can take it further. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.